There are so many different ways to learn English, it can be hard to figure out which way is best. In today's video, let's talk about 5 ways that you can go about improving your English language. Any one of these would be a great way to learn English, but if you can combine some of them, then you're really going to notice the difference in your English language skills. Are you ready to find out the 5 different techniques that if used correctly can help you improve your English? If so, then let's get into it. First, let's talk about spaced repetition system, or SRS. A spaced repetition system is a method where you're learning vocabulary and grammar at specific intervals, where you gradually increase the length of time between repetitions depending on how much that you remember. Essentially, it will help you retain new language more effectively by remembering it at optimal moments right when you're most likely to forget them. This is often done through dedicated apps such as Anki or Memrise. The key is for you to review things right before you're about to forget them. So instead of opening a textbook that day and deciding what am I going to study for the day, open an app such as Anki and then go from there. Then you can just go through the words that you have saved. This is going to give you a more targeted way to go about memorizing vocabulary words. You won't have a random stack of cards to memorize. You're going to be going right to those words that you have trouble with right when you need to. This will give you the benefit of an improved vocabulary. You will have a much more efficient use of your study time as well. This will also increase your English speaking confidence. The vocabulary words that you do know are going to show up later as more time passes. Immersion in English means surrounding yourself with the language that you're trying to learn. You will often do this through exposure to native speakers and everyday situations. It's like being fully immersed in your target language, whether it's through travel, a dedicated program, or you could even simulate an all-English environment at your own house. The key point to immersion is total exposure to English. You are constantly exposed to the language through listening, writing, reading, speaking, and you're going to be in real world context. Natural acquisition is another great point. You will mimic how children learn their native language by natural interactions where you can pick up on the nuances of a language. Immersion is considered to be one of the most effective ways to achieve fluency and speaking confidence in English. This is going to naturally enhance your overall fluency in English. Some of the benefits of immersion are improved communication skills. You'll be able to develop a natural fluency in speaking as well as listening. It's a great way to deeper understand the culture behind language. It will also give you an exposure to a wider range of vocabulary that's used in more natural situations. You can also increase your confidence in speaking. Practicing in real-world situations is going to be a great way for you to reduce your anxiety. Here are some great ways that you can go about practicing immersion. One great way is by studying abroad. Have you ever thought of English language immersion programs? You can try to find online English language communities where you have a chance to actually speak to native speakers online in your own words in English. How about try watching TV shows or movies in English, and if you need to, you can always use the subtitles to enhance your understanding. Listening to music or podcasts in English, also reading books in English are great ways that you can go about immersing yourself in an all-English environment. Shadowing is another great way that you can improve your English, and you can do this by listening to an audio recording and immediately following or shadowing that English speaker to enhance your pronunciation skills. You can shadow a speaker by mimicking their pronunciation, intonation, and the rhythm that they use to speak in English. The ultimate goal is to improve your fluency and accuracy in English. The primary benefit of shadowing is to really work and focus on your pronunciation by hearing real speakers and then actively mimicking that person to get down their exact sound. And by repeating that English in real time, you can get down the natural rhythm and intonation of a speaker's voice. You can also build your confidence by giving you a chance to speak in English out loud, it could be on your own, so you don't have to worry about making mistakes, and this is really gonna build up that confidence. Shadowing is also suitable for all levels of English, so you can find something that's at your level and you can gradually increase it to match the improvement that you're sure to make. I have a dedicated video on how you can do shadowing, so I'll link it down below if you're interested, but I think shadowing is another really great way you can use to improve your English. Another great way to improve your English is task-based language teaching. This is a method of teaching where you're going to be learning English through actual real-world tasks and using your target language to get through those tasks. How it works that you're going to be working through a task that you have in real life. You can really focus on the meaning and how you're using that language to get through your task. It's also going to help you be able to use English organically, since you're going to be doing these in real situations that you would have to do anyway, even if you weren't doing them in English. You can use task-based language teaching to have a visit to a doctor or conducting an interview in English. How about the next time you have to call customer service, try doing it in English. You can even practice writing by writing out a list of famous people, your famous sports stars, or your famous sports teams. Anything that you can do to use actual English for the situation is going to be beneficial. In each of those examples, I would use my target English that I was studying for that day to go about and complete each of those tasks. So think about something that you have to do soon. Think about, how can I do this in English, and then go about seeing if you're able to get it done. Last thing we're going to talk about today is mnemonics. A mnemonic, when you're using it to learn English, is going to be a memory aid such as a phrase or a rhyme or an acronym that's going to benefit your way of remembering that English. It's a good way to help you remember vocabulary words, phrases, grammar. And the way you're going to do this is by associating it with something that's easy for you to remember or visualize. It's a clever way to link existing information in your head to the new information that you want to remember. An example that I can remember since I was a little boy, and I know they teach it in a lot of US schools, is I before E except after C. And this is a classic mnemonic that's going to help you remember the spelling of such words as believe or receive. I before E, except after C. Mnemonics are a great way for you to improve your English retention. It also creates a fun and memorable association. It could also be used for different aspects of English, whether it be vocabulary, spelling, or even grammar. One of the ways that you can go about using mnemonics is wordplay. Find words that sound similar to the target word, and you can create a silly sentence around them. You could also visualize imagery. So for example, imagine a picture or an image in your head that's going to connect to the meaning of that word that you're trying to remember. Another way is also to use acronyms. Acronyms are just going to use the first letter of each word in a phrase, for example, that are going to connect that concept to what you're trying to remember. I hope these 5 learning techniques give you something good to think about when it comes to learning English. If you got good benefit out of this video, how about sharing with someone else that you think it will help? And then you can click this video right here to learn more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing the next video. See you.